Yesterday night, a series of coordinated and audacious Ukrainian drone operations targeted high-profile and strategic locations deep within Russian territory. These actions not only challenged the Kremlin's narrative of domestic security, but also coincided with a major international event hosted by President Vladimir Putin, creating significant political and operational reverberations. The day's events began to escalate late in the evening in the Black Sea resort city of Sochi. President Putin had just concluded a major address at the annual Volatile Discussion Club, an international conference attended by pro-Kremlin journalists and analysts. The event was intended to project an image of Russian stability and global influence. However, this narrative was abruptly shattered by a Ukrainian drone assault on the city. At 10:30 p.m. local time, authorities closed the airspace over Sochi and the surrounding areas. 30 minutes later, the city's mayor confirmed the imminent threat of a drone attack. As a direct result, Sochi International Airport, AER, was forced to halt all operations for 7 hours. This shutdown created a cascading effect, leading to the delay or cancellation of approximately 10 outbound and 40 inbound flights. The operation served as a significant psychological blow, demonstrating Ukraine's ability to project force into a location where the Russian head of state was present and turning a display of Russian strength into one of vulnerability. Simultaneously, another operation with greater strategic implications was executed nearly 1,400 kilometers to the northeast. Ukrainian drones targeted the Orsk oil refinery in the Orenburg Oblast region, a critical piece of Russia's energy infrastructure situated deep within the country. The Orsk facility is one of Russia's 10 largest refineries and the most prominent in the southern Ural region, processing around 6 million tons of crude oil annually. This volume constitutes approximately 3% of Russia's total refining capacity, making it a high-value target for economic warfare. The regional government in Orenburg officially acknowledged an attack on the refinery, but quickly asserted that its operations were not disrupted. This official narrative was directly contradicted by video footage that surfaced on Russian social media. The clips, filmed by local residents, clearly showed explosions and subsequent fires at the facility. Filming such events now carries significant personal risk after President Putin signed a law criminalizing the recording and distribution of images depicting the aftermath of Ukrainian attacks. In the footage, voices can be heard warning the person filming to stop, a stark reminder of the potential for fines or imprisonment. The visual evidence of a successful strike prompted immediate panic among the local population. Distrusting official reassurances, citizens began forming long queues at gasoline stations to secure fuel. The incident underscored the growing divide between state-sponsored narratives and the reality experienced by ordinary Russians. The attack on the Orsk refinery also sparked a serious geopolitical debate due to its vast distance from Ukrainian-controlled territory. At roughly 1,400 kilometers, the facility is widely believed to be beyond the range of Ukraine's known long-range drones if launched from within its borders. However, its proximity to Kazakhstan, just 5 kilometers from the border, has fueled intense speculation and accusations within Russian nationalist circles. Prominent Russian military bloggers and propagandists swiftly claimed that the drones must have been launched from Kazakhstani territory. One popular military channel on social media openly called for punitive measures, stating, "It is completely obvious that the drones were launched from the territory of Kazakhstan. Hence the question, isn't it time to carry out a raid on the territory of independent Kazakhstan in order to eliminate threats to Russia's national security?" While there is no public evidence to support the claim of Kazakhstani involvement, this rhetoric signifies a dangerous escalation and suggests a willingness among certain Russian factions to expand the conflict. However, any calls for a new military front are tempered by the severe realities of the Kremlin's losses in Ukraine. After 3.5 years of its special military operation, Russia is grappling with an unsustainable rate of attrition. Recent Kremlin-acknowledged figures confirm the deaths of at least 134,000 personnel by name, a number that only includes officially processed cases, where families have received death notices. The daily casualty rate seldom drops below 120 killed in action. Western intelligence agencies estimate the actual number of fatalities to be far higher, ranging from 200,000 to 300,000. These figures do not include losses among auxiliary forces, such as mobilized convicts or foreign contingents. This severe depletion of manpower makes the prospect of a second major military operation highly unfeasible. This internal pressure is compounded by an ongoing information war. Kremlin officials have recently been preoccupied with refuting comments made weeks ago by President Donald Trump, who characterized Russia as a paper tiger. In a recent interview, Dmitry Peskov, Putin's spokesperson, attempted to counter this label. Russia is not a tiger, he stated. It is, after all, more commonly associated with a bear. Paper bears don't exist. Russia is a real bear. President Putin also addressed the comment at the Valdai conference, remarking, "If we are at war with the entire NATO bloc and are moving forward feeling confident, and it is a paper tiger, then what is NATO itself?" Amid this environment, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has signaled a potential increase in Kyiv's long-range strike capabilities. Following a recent meeting with the US president, Zelensky made a cryptic statement hinting at new weapon systems, which has been widely interpreted as a reference to longer-range Western systems. "Before this moment, we used only our weapon on long-distance targets," Zelensky said. "After my meeting with the President of the United States, maybe we will have something more." He also issued a direct warning. If Russia continues its campaign against Ukraine's energy infrastructure this winter, Ukraine will retaliate symmetrically against Moscow's power grid. This tense atmosphere has elicited increasingly severe rhetoric from President Putin, who, during his Valdai speech, engaged in a form of nuclear blackmail. He stated that Russia would attack Ukrainian nuclear power stations if Kyiv continues to strike strategic targets inside Russia. "This is a dangerous game," Putin warned. "They still have working nuclear power stations on their side, and what's stopping us from responding in kind?" The gravity of this threat was immediately reinforced by Russia's own Ministry of Defense. While Putin was speaking, the ministry released combat footage of a Russian strike on a power plant that supplies electricity to the Chernobyl nuclear power plant complex. Although Chernobyl's reactors are no longer operational, they require a constant supply of power and water for the cooling systems that manage spent nuclear fuel. An interruption of this power supply could potentially lead to a radiological incident. This tactic allows Russia to create the conditions for a nuclear disaster while maintaining deniability by not directly striking the reactor facilities. The combination of military setbacks, high casualties, and escalating nuclear rhetoric is visibly eroding the Kremlin's control over its domestic information space. In a remarkably candid assessment, a Russian war correspondent publicly declared the military operation a strategic failure. On a broadcast, he noted that after 3.5 years, Russia has failed to achieve its primary objectives. The key goals, as stated by the president, are the demilitarization and denazification of Ukraine. He explained, "How far have we come in achieving these goals? To speak frankly and seriously, we are at the beginning of a long path." He further described the slow pace of advancement in the Donbass, estimating that at the current rate, securing the territory of the Donetsk People's Republic alone would take another year to a year and a half. His analysis represents a stark public admission from within pro-war circles that the invasion's initial objectives are now more distant than ever, despite the immense costs. This growing internal critique suggests that the gap between the Kremlin's strategic ambitions and the operational realities on the ground is becoming too profound to conceal. As the gap between official Kremlin narratives and the harsh realities on the ground widens, the need for clear, unbiased analysis is more critical than ever. We are dedicated to tracking these military escalations, geopolitical shifts, and internal pressures within Russia. To stay informed with our in-depth reports and understand the unfiltered context behind these rapidly unfolding events, please consider subscribing to our channel and enabling notifications. Your support allows us to continue bringing you vital, fact-based coverage from the front lines of this evolving conflict.